Hello, everybody. We're going to get started here in 1 second. Just getting the last minute things taken care of.
Ooh. Shit, I need to get a new calendar. I always wait till Christmas because sometimes I get calendars for Christmas,
Sure.
but not this year. I have to get my own. I have to go find a good one.
Mike, I need you, if you want, to adjust your own camera.
Okay.
But only if you want to. Don't feel like you need to. But if it bothers you, you have to adjust it yourself.
Well, you know me.
Yep.
It bothers me. All right, let me see. Ever so slightly lift it. Oh, lift it up or push it back. This is messing everything up.
Sit down.
You got to keep the dream alive.
All right, gamers. Let's see here. That's good. Okay. I forgot E.
There we go. Perfect.
Let's go ahead and turn this off. They're not hearing that. Is there not a music one on this one? Okay, that's fine. Music. All right, you guys should be hearing that. Mike, you're still hearing the song?
No. Wait, I hear the beep, doo-doo. Yeah, I hear that.
Okay. All right. I think.
Living in the city.
I think we're ready. I think. I'm sure we're forgetting something. I tweeted. Music set up. The Discord is there. The rundown is here. Let me go to viewer activity. Okay. Mike, I'm ready to start if you are.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it. All right, I'm going to count us in, and we'll get started in 5, 4, 3. The internet, you're busy, let's do this. Welcome to the Game Mess Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti.
In today's episode, the year is over, so let's do one more podcast, get it out of our systems, and start again and try to do better in 2023. Mike, how are you doing?
Oh, fine since yesterday and the day before that. I keep saying too much of you, Jeff. I'm sick of your face.
Yeah, I know. We got to do something about this. We got to just put an end to it. We got to rip the Band-Aid off and just end it. Just end it once and for all.
Just end it. Yeah, there's our New Year's resolution. I'm done with you.
Yeah, just get it over with. Yeah.
Had enough.
I think I've decided I'm not gonna go out for New Year's Eve. How about you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it seems like nobody wants to do much for it, and I'm on the same page. I think everybody did a lot for Christmas this year, because I think most people were pretty comfortable going out and doing big family things and parties this time. So, yeah, a lot of people did a lot for that. I did last year. I did a lot for New Year's. I went on a cabin trip, and this year I'm like, look, I hope somebody invites me to their house to have a glass of champagne. I'm gonna be there for 2 hours and then come home. That's all I want to do. I do not want to do much.
I think I'm gonna stream. I think I'm just gonna stream some games.
Stream?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do a New Year's Eve stream.
Gotta find something funny to sync up for when it counts down to 0.
Yeah, something like that. We'll come up with something like the the whatever the Chow Garden thing is in Balan Wonderworld. Doesn't that like get bigger and bigger? We could just do something with
Jeff,
that.
you know way more about Balan Wonderworld and its fake Shao Garden ripoffs than I do.
That's a shame. We should fix that. You should play.
No, we should not.
Play
We should
Balan
absolutely
Wonderworld.
not. No,
Yeah. This episode, Mike, there's just not much to it. We got some leftovers basically that we need to take care of. We're gonna see what the community thought the game of the year was. Yes, we had them vote. They gave us some of their basically they wrote us about what some of their favorite games were. We'll talk about those. We'll interject here and there. I was gonna like maybe have us look at like hidden gems, but I think we talk about so much on everything we play. I don't think there's many hidden gems left this year.
We do have a Hall of Fame segment for today, right?
Yes, we do. Yes, we have a Hall of Fame segment. The voting is complete. So we'll get to that after we get to the community game of the year and then our conversation about that. First, we'll do the credits here. I played Sports Story. I kind of just want to get this out of the way.
Yeah. I saw you were streaming it. I was watching. It was hard to get too much of a read on it. Like, what do you think, Jeff?
I think it might be pretty boring.
It seems like it's weird because, of course, the whole point of it is that story, right? RPG.
Yeah.
It seems like there was a lot of story going on.
I mean, and I want there to be story. I just want it to be very much like, here's the story that sets up the problem that you are then going to solve with sports. And so far, it's just been story, and even when there is a problem, it's just, hey, run this frog around and it'll make the bees go away. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, video game? All right, I mean, I'll do it, but this is weird.
If they told you to do that while you were Tingle, you would love it.
Yeah, of course. So that goes without saying, but I'm not Tingle in this game, and that's one of the big deficits working against it. But it's like, even when like they set it up, it's like, all right, you're going to kind of maybe go play some sports. They always, so far in the first hour and a half, 2 hours, they've pulled the rug out from underneath me. And it's like, well, no, you're not going to play sports yet. Don't be crazy. So far, it's just been like the most sports playing is occasionally you will just solve a very minor puzzle or do a mini game with a golf club and a ball. And that's it. And that was a lot of the first game, but they were always kind of building you up toward, all right, and then you're going to just go do a round of golf on 9 or 18 holes or something like that.
Right.
And I like that structure. So far, the big problem with Sports Story is it doesn't fucking have a structure. There isn't. It's been non sequitur sort of presentation of one weird little problem after another. And my nothing that my character is doing has any say over that. I'm just occasionally bumping into another group of characters or, different characters, and they tell me their problems. And then when I solve their problem, they're like, okay, well, now we slap the goat on the face. So obviously that solved this problem. Now it's time to go, kick the Jeep in the balls. What do you, it's just, it makes kind of no sense. And so I feel nothing pulling me through and nothing pushing me through. I'm just sort of getting like slowly moved from one spot to the other without caring about anything that's happening. So
what's your goal? What's your character's motivation?
Yeah, I don't know.
That was a real question. Is there not?
Yeah,
an answer?
and that's a real answer. That's very good question. So far it's been make orange juice. Like the motivation is people tell you what their motivations are, and that's your motivation now.
It's literally that one G.I. Joe joke thing. You told me do things, I do them.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yeah, yes, it's exactly like that, and it's
pork chop sandwiches. Is that an old man thing now to reference those old fake PSA videos from G.I. Joe?
Yes, yeah. You go a more modern reference where it's Call of Duty, like what is it? Martinez, do everything. Yeah, that's that sort of thing. I don't know. It's just not very fun so far. Pretty tedious. A pretty rough thing to stream, except for everyone that was having a good time watching me get kind of a little bit frustrated. And then I
could tell you're getting kind of frustrated.
Yes, I was. And then I was like, well, I'm going to go play Wave Race. And I shut down the game. And everyone's like, but you got to manually save. I'm like, no, I don't. Because, of course, like they would have been shouting at me in the game about manually saving. I would have seen the screen at some point. I would have happened across it, like hitting the start button. I would have seen big, like save now or whatever. That none of that stuff really ever crossed my eyes. If it did, I didn't notice it. It wasn't prominent. I lost some progress, a lot of progress in that second area because I was playing through it and I did not manually save before closing down the game and going to
Oh,
play
you are never
waivers.
touching this game again. There's no way you're going through that stuff again.
I went on stream and I deleted the game. When I
Wow.
saw that was the case, I'm like, I'm deleting it because I know I'm not going to play it again.
Man.
Yeah.
So this is
It'll
is
get a lot
rough.
better. They'll have to really patch the hell out of it for me to come back and.
Do you think it's really that much different from Golf Story? You think Golf Story hit at a better time?
I think that's
the
part of it.
circumstances were different, but do you think this is just noticeably worse?
I think it hit at the right time, that helped Golf Story for sure. But Golf Story's structure exists for one. That's a big positive. It's like it has a structure, and I think it was a pretty good like motivation, or at least for me, it worked for me. I like the concept of having a character who just wants to be the best golfer in the world. That's real easy, real simple stuff. They don't even try to like replicate that in any form in this game, and that's its biggest problem for me. So, yeah, I'm never gonna play that game again. I don't think.
I haven't even started it yet. Now I have buyer's remorse. I don't know. It's just me. Like, yeah, of course I'm gonna buy Sports Story.
Yeah.
Not like watching you play. Like, I want to play this. He's just walking around getting orange juice or something.
Yes.
And he played like one round of volleyball for a second.
It's so weird because it's like, yeah, go get oranges, and I'm like, where? And then it's like, well, go now. Now you have an orange. Go get an orange token or whatever. Go get the orange juice made. Where? The orange juice stand is out in the ocean, and it's like there's no map or no like waypoint telling me where. So I had to I'm like, oh yeah, I can swim, and I guess I just didn't realize that. But it's just a weird game that feels very incoherent right now. So, yeah, I mean, hey. Put down a game seems hard, so good for them. But this is no Golf Story, that's for sure. And it's nothing. It doesn't feel anything like Mario Golf or Mario Tennis anymore. Not really.
Well, speaking of sports, how about I hit you with a curveball?
Yeah, do it.
Because we didn't talk about this on Nintendo, but there's been a lot more Switch Pro talk going around again, Jeff. Everybody's favorite.
Yes,
we're
there.
Switch 2, the Switch Pros. I think Digital Foundry, I think John Lennon was saying, he heard, and this is something that we've repeated ourselves, that there was a Switch Pro in production.
Seems likely.
And they canceled it.
Yep.
And now they did that so that they could just worry about like a full-on actual next-gen upgrade now whenever that gets announced. So this is getting a lot of talk. Jeff, my reaction to this is, again, I kind of thought that we had already been hearing this scuttlebutt for a bit, and I thought it seemed pretty. We heard that the OLED was originally going to be much more than what it was, right?
Yeah,
that was just going to be part of a Switch Pro package, and instead we just got the nice screen and nothing else.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty difficult to like track exactly like what everything meant. But it's like that. I mean, that was the reporting from some of the people that were like very insistent that a Pro was coming before now at this point in our timeline. But it's like even like the OLED was always in the back end code when people were going in there and mining the code to see like, hey, what's happening with Nintendo stuff. The references to the OLED was there, and there was never any references in that sort of software and firmware to anything that would have been a serious Pro upgrade. So it's like obviously they didn't get that far with it, but it did seem like they were getting somewhere because they did hand stuff out to developers. That stuff doesn't seem like it was made up or wrong or incorrect, especially now that as we hear different people hearing the same exact story. Once again, John Linneman is hearing that story different than when Mochizuki heard it at the Wall Street Journal or Bloomberg, wherever he's at, Wall Street Journal. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you. Yeah, I thought we had established that this was something that did happen, was never going to come out, or if it is going to come out, it's going to come out in some weird transformed version. And so we've kind of moved past it. But I mean, I guess, we're just kind of getting confirmation of the story. So I'm not too surprised people are talking about it again. 2023, we just need an answer. What is happening with the next Switch? Just tell us, Nintendo.
I mean, I think I don't expect them to release one this year. Absolutely not. They got to at least say something about it at some point this year. I think things are going to get weird. I saw some tweet from some Nintendo fan account today. Nothing against them, but they're like, we don't even need a new Switch. Why does anyone even care? It's like,
yeah, I would like one. That's what
I would like one.
I would pay them more money for one, so that's probably a big boon to them. That's probably what
I don't know. It's going to be interesting when Tears of the Kingdom comes out, Jeff, and if that game has noticeable performance issues, it's going to be interesting to see how people react to that.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Before we get into the rest of the show, just real quick and get more from Mike and me on our Discord, games.net. Thank you to Carlos Ain and Cinematic Music on YouTube for the use of our theme songs. If you're listening to this on YouTube, we have an audio version. You can find it wherever podcasts are caught. Give us a good rating wherever you're listening. Thank you to our mods. Go to patreon.com/GameS to support the show like a lot of people have been. Again, people have been very kind over the holidays of supporting the show. It's been really exciting to see like those messages pop off. And it's not like a deluge, but it is a constant drip of people being like, yes, we want to support this stuff. And it continues to mean the world to me. So thank you so much. You can get, if you do join the Patreon, or if you hit the join button here on YouTube, which is going to be effectively the same thing for you, you get access to the private channels inside the Discord, the monthly Q&A, 1 month early access to our Jeopardy game, and participation in our monthly game club discussions. You're also like voters for the Hall of Fame stuff that we're doing. You're a full-on podcast producer, which means you're contributing to these shows. All right, and then finally, someone here, Sean and Benji Bop wrote, also, Fantasy Critic 2023 signups are happening for patrons in the Discord. And they said, thanks, Jeff, for probably
this year. I'm going to finally figure out how this works and maybe try. We'll see.
Sean and Benji, can we, as part of that, can we come up with any like really messed up rules? I think I
don't understand the current rules.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I want to make like just one or two really off. I heard on a podcast that if you have a kicker and they miss an extra point, like you get minus 50. We don't have to do that. But I would like to do something along those lines. Like, that's pretty fun.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, send super chats. Well, we'll read them during the show. We got a couple. There's one here listing their favorite games of the year, and that's kind of a theme here is community favorite games. So that'd be a fun one to do if you want to super chat us your games of the year. We will read those on air.
And with all that in mind, let's get to the...
Thumbs up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And hit the thumbs up. Hit the like button, everybody. Let's get over to 100. Thank you, everybody who's watching live. And thank you, everybody who's listening later. Let's get into the community game of the year. And me and Mike will provide our commentary throughout this, of course. But there was a vote in the Discord and among podcast producers. I think Sean ran it as a ranked choice voting situation. So people, I think, gave their top threes or top fives, something like that.
Should we go from... Actually, you know what? I was guessing, should we go from 10 to 1? Yeah, we should go from 10 to 1, right?
Let's go from 10 to 1. I was just like, of these games that didn't make the top 10, any highlights there that you were like surprised didn't make it into the top 10?
Well, Live Alive at 11 hurts me because of what got in at 10. Although, granted, there's technically a tie for 9th, but we'll count the one that's 10 as 10 because it's objectively worse. So yes, I'm upset Live Alive barely didn't make it, but otherwise it's a pretty good list, I think, Jeff.
Yeah, I think I'm not too surprised Tinykin didn't make it.
Sure.
It's tied for 17th on here. Bayonetta 3 just below that though.
Bayonetta 3 is like the most maligned game that got like an 89 Metacritic I think I've ever seen, right?
Absolutely. I mean there's probably even better examples, but it feels in recent history very maligned for a game that should otherwise be like kind of just skating by on its merits. I don't know. It's not anyone's consideration for a game of the year or anything like that. Basically, is what it feels like.
Absolutely not.
All right.
Hey, thank you, Thanatopsis, for joining us on the Tubman tier, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good looking. That's awesome. We really appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's get to it, Mike. You want to read the number 10 game of the year?
Yeah, I'm gonna. How about I take care of the readings of this?
Yeah, that'd be great. If there's anybody from the podcast producers who mentioned the game, I will bring it up, and then yes, great. So, Mike, what is number 10 from the community?
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Technically tied for 9th, but I'm putting it at 10. Again, there was like a ranking system here, so I'm sure Sean gave it a ton of votes. You guys are nuts. You guys are crazy. I don't know. I couldn't get very far into it, Jeff. I tried a few times, and even trying to get past the graphics and stuff, which is hard to get past. I have to admit, I'm not that wowed by this interpretation of an open world structure. I like it in theory, but the world just feels dead. The towns are so boring. You're not even allowed to go inside people's houses anymore, which is kind of an important RPG thing. And then otherwise it's Pokemon. The whole crystallizing, terraforming. I don't know what the hell it's called.
Crystallizing.
crystal mething doesn't do
Yeah,
too
yeah,
much
blue meth,
for
sure.
me. But look, the community, man, yeah, they backed this one enough to get it onto the top 10. So there it is.
I would be more annoyed by this if the other one wasn't above this, which we'll get to in a little bit. Like at least they're in the correct order regarding like in regards to Pokemon games. But yeah, I mean, yeah, people got over the issues with Pokemon Violet and Scarlet and Violet, and I mean beyond like your core issues of like is it as fun to play as some of the other recent games, or are they making improvements? But in terms of the performance and stuff, people are like, yeah, we get it, but we're having fun. So
Sure, I don't blame people for getting over that eventually.
right, but yeah. Number 10 over a whole lot of other games. I mean, that is pretty raw. I mean, like even among our audience, you say, well, it's Nintendo, but like Splatoon 3 is like way down there. I would like prefer Splatoon 3 at number 10 or something.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's above a lot of other good Switch games like Live Alive, Bayonetta 3, Splatoon 3, even like something like I didn't really play like a Triangle
Hey,
Strategy.
Kirby's Dream Buffet got 1 vote or 1 point,
No,
excuse me. So
that game's not that good, Jeff. I know you don't pull that the art like playing it with my kids thing. Yeah,
that's
great,
no,
good
that's
for
gonna be
you.
my new thing. I'm gonna
Yeah,
let my
great.
kids make my list. So I did point it. It got 1 point, but I'm not saying like it's so
Well,
good.
Shredder's Revenge
It's
got
literally
2
the
points,
last on
and
the
that's
entire list. Like, yeah,
yeah, fair enough, fair enough. All right, you ready for number 9?
I am.
Number 9, so this is technically tied with Pokemon Scarlet Violet, except that we break the ties. Is Vampire Survivors just as good as Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, according to your community, Jeff? Your when they make bad choices, it's your community.
I mean, I think it's a bad choice because it could be even higher.
Well, that's what I mean too.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Well, I don't even know. Like, it would be like on there on my list. Just the idea that it's tied with Pokemon, I find funny.
Yeah, it's Vampire Survivors is just like a video video game, and it's the kind of thing that it's been out for like going on like almost a full year now. I think it came out like late 2020, 2020 almost, right? 2021. 2021, and it was early access, and they kept improving it at $3, and it kind of turned into this phenomenon, and then it just kept building in a way that really surprised me. Where I'm like, oh, this is a really good idea where you could easily just pick up and play it. But then there's so much depth because they kept adding so much stuff. That's what really sets it apart. I think it just is endlessly replayable, and that's one thing I've seen with a lot of people. It's like, no, I've played it. I got all of the achievements, and then they updated it, and I did the exact same thing. Got all the achievements again. I'm like, that's. I mean, I haven't had the time to put into to accomplish that, but it's still I see the pathway towards that just because it's so much instantly fun. In our community, Run Robo Joe. No one, by the way, no one mentioned Scarlet or Violet when they were actually talking about their favorite games in the podcast producers. But Run Robo Joe said Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, and Vampire Survivors were the tops for me this year. Only enough time for absolute bangers and Steam Deck compatible games with a 1-year-old in the house. That's one of those games. Vampire Survivors is also a very good game for like just picking up and playing. It's a half an hour at that max most of the time. And now that it's on phones, I know a lot of people are discovering it that way. So yeah, kind of perfect to just fit in a little bit of gaming when you have the craving. It can really scratch that itch.
Yeah. I mean, if you love it so much, Jeff, how come it wasn't on your top 10 game of the year list?
Shut
on
up.
GiantBomb.com?
It's on my top 10 list here, and that's all that matters. We're in this environment now.
I agree with that.
Yes.
All right, so next one then.
Yeah, what's number 8?
Number 8 is Pentiment. So I think that's pretty good. I think that's a kind of close to where it was on my list, actually. I think Pentiment hit a lot of people in a strong way. I'm not as bad as you, but I don't necessarily love super talky games, and this is basically a visual novel. But it's done in a very clever way. It's done in a way that still makes use of gaming as a medium without necessarily making it very gamey, that I appreciate. I think it's just a really great setting, time and place for this sort of thing. At first, when I was told about the length, that almost threw me off, but I think the length is a strength to it because it does help the game breathe. It helps let you get time to really become familiar with that entire town and to develop relationships with all of those characters that evolve as you play it and kind of becomes a big reason why you do get so attached to this thing. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy to see Pentiment make it on here.
Yep, and it's I mean it's in one of my favorite subgenres right now, detective games, and it's doing something different in that space, even a space that already feels pretty different from things that are available in a lot of other games. And it's like, hey, let's turn this little genre on its head, and Pentiment accomplishes that with flying colors because it just as we said before, it fully understands what it's capable of and how to manipulate the gamer in a way that is the player in a way that feels very collaborative with the player. Where it's like, hey, you are working towards the end of this story. You have ideas in mind about what's happening here, and because of that, we know how to play those expectations against you to make you start thinking about some things in some really powerful ways. Very good game. Rock Party said Pentiment is my game of the year. It's the first time I've restarted a game right away to see what playing the opposite character type would change. That's something I'm like, I'm not sure I want to. I kind of almost want my story to be like my story, but it's there. I get the appeal as well because you're like, man, how could it have gone different? And then you're like looking at the obvious big change points where it's like, well, I did fail. Like personally, I failed every check with that first guy that came to town before the big murder. And it was like, man, I wonder what happened if I would have even got like one or two of those right instead of, well, right, but different than what I did end up with.
I asked this on Twitter earlier. I've been thinking about this a lot, so I want your opinion. Do you think Shrek could solve a murder mystery?
I think Shrek could solve a murder mystery because onions have layers, and one of those layers is probably a really, gumshoe level.
Do glass onions have layers?
Glass onions seem to have layers, but you can see right through them. He explains it. Benoit Blanc explains it all. Don't worry.
Okay, I see.
Clink also mentioned that honorable runner-up for his game of the year is Pentiment. I hope to finish it before the end of the year. So getting that runner-up status even before finishing the game, which, hey, I totally vibe with that.
I think I knew, halfway through Act 2, this is going to be on my top 10 somewhere. That's like somehow really drops the ball, and instead Act 3 is very strong.
So it just gets even better, yeah.
Yeah. So we technically have a tie for 6 and 7, Jeff, so I'm once again going to order this myself appropriately and say that Pokemon Legends Arceus is our number 7 game here. The better Pokemon game.
Yes, there it is.
By quite a bit, I think, because I think it's actually simpler, which helps a lot. With performance for one thing, even though we thought that this was an ugly game when we saw it first, now it looks pretty nice. But I don't know, it's snappier, even though it does still have almost too much plot structure for my liking. It gets going pretty fast. I like the way that you catch Pokemon in this. I like that you really can just kind of wander around, go looking for Pokemon. You have, there's like a core line that you follow through, but then after that you can really go around and explore. And I liked using those riding Pokemon you got in this more than my stupid motorcycle who didn't use his motorcycle wheels, which just drives me. The people who defend that drive me the absolute worst kind of bananas.
Because it's just madness. It's madness that they would do that.
The worst were like, oh, well, like, how would the wheels turn? That's a biological being. I'm like, there's an ice cream cone Pokemon.
There's another Pokemon in the other game that does have the wheels that turn, right?
Yes, it does, I think, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. But yes, I liked Arceus a lot. I had a really fun time playing through that. I kind of regret not even playing more of it and doing some of the post-game stuff that people said was really strong in it, too. So it's something I might even go back to at some point.
From the community, 122322 Saved Gaming Bop says, Pokemon Legends Arceus, it made Pokemon new and refreshing from a different point of view than in past games. Also, goated soundtrack. I do really like that soundtrack. And you nailed it for me. Like being able to throw the Pokeballs and just like seeing a Pokemon, be like, hey, go walk to that big giant Pokemon over there and see if you can catch it. And there's something very primal to me about that I very much vibe with. Major Yorha also really liked Arceus and voted as one of their top 3. Or top 5 it looks like here. So yeah, a lot of love for Arceus in the community.
So that would make number 6, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This was my number 3. This was my favorite of all the Switch exclusives this year, Jeff. I've been wanting a 3D Kirby game for a while. We finally got one, and it was one of the best Kirby games ever. If not the best, I think I still like Superstar probably a little bit more than this. But Kirby and Forgotten Land, fantastic.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot at this point, but it's a game that I've just fallen more and more and more in love with. The more I play it, with my kids. It holds up as this very fun Kirby adventure. and they put a ton of stuff in there, and then that stuff is easy to skip over if you don't want it, if you just want the Kirby adventure. And then if you do go looking for it, if you let your kids play around in it like a playground, it is there, and it's a lot of fun distractions. So I couldn't say enough good things about this game, and I just hope they keep doing exactly this going forward for now.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody in the chat say anything about Kirby? Not
Yes,
chat, but
some
in the
people
comments.
mentioned it as like Major Yorha said. If I had to just pick one, I'm thinking it's probably Kirby, but then that's them struggling with whether or not they could pick just one. But and then a few other people mentioned Kirby as one of their selections, but no one had
Yeah.
much to say about it specifically.
I don't think it's like Kirby Forgotten Lands. Maybe almost nobody's the game of the year, right?
Yes.
I think it's a lot of people's 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's
kind of thing.
Nintendo's Marvel Spider-Man when that game came out, and it's like, well, it was no one's game of the year, but it's definitely it might be like the game that people remember the most a couple years from now, and that's how I feel about it.
All right, just here's a pretty interesting divergent from us.
Okay,
Number 5 is Tunic.
a lot of people
Top
really like Tunic.
5.
Yes,
Yeah. We kind of well, I don't know if we shit on this game. I shit on the game a bit. You were more disappointed with it. That's what it sounds, because you were really into it for a bit and then fell off it. I kind of almost never got into it. So I guess I'm curious to hear if anybody did have like things to say about it, or
yeah. Beef Hammer. Beef Hammer says
Yeah.
my brain is saying Elden Ring, but my heart is with Tunic as my game of the year. I like the metaphor Bacular used. The game could be like a set of dominoes where it all will fall perfectly for some people. I'm so glad everything in the game hit for me, and I didn't face frustrations like others did that soured their experience. And that's where it is for me, where I was enjoying it, and then I'm trying to like get over the hump with this puzzle, and in my way is this combat that has not really improved over the course of playing it, and it kind of is monotonous and difficult and strangely, like bizarrely difficult.
Like monotonous.
Yeah, Mike Monotonous, yes. And so it's just kind of turning into a not very good Zelda with probably some really great puzzles and meta layer puzzles on top of that. But I'm just at a certain point where like the overall magic trick of, hey, this stuff has been in the game the entire time, and if you would have just discovered it from the instruction manual, well, that happened 6, 7, 8 times, and those sort of ran out, and now it was time to piece together this bigger puzzle, and I just wasn't having enough fun to justify that. But for some people, like, you know, that has happened with me in games like The Witness or whatever, and so I totally like get it when people are like, no, this clicked with me, and I needed to see everything. That's awesome. I'm glad that some people got that experience.
Okay, so the number 4 is Neon White, a very game messy game, Jeff.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. I keep meaning to tell you this, and I keep forgetting, but I am still really a top 100 Neon White player.
Wow,
in the
really?
World. Yeah, I know, it's very impressive.
It's hard to
very
believe.
Cool. Yeah, so I actually, Neon White is fantastic. I love first person like movement based games when they're done well. Like I love Mirror's Edge, and this is like Mirror's Edge, like even more bite sized speed running, and with this sort like involving shooting in a way that isn't actually just shooting, but still of that essence. It's just, I don't know. It's very unique. It's hard to explain it in like 2 sentences, and yet it melds together so well. It's still so slick to play. There's like a part where it's like, maybe I should open that up again and mess around. It's a game I hope gets DLC or maybe even a sequel someday or something, because gosh, it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's the foundation there is just so strong, and you could see some, if they really start messing around with the way that the weapons interact with stuff in the world, they could do a lot more with it. Neon White was my game of the year. It's too much fun to play compared to everything else for me. And as much as I truly think Elden Ring is magic, like literal magic, Neon White just fits with me even better. In the community, some people mentioned like, yeah, Neon White and like Hospice, like I've already talked about Neon White, so I'll talk about something else. I think we're at a point where everyone's like, no, we get it. Neon White really is that good.
Yeah, we talked about Neon White a lot on this show throughout the year for sure.
Yes.
Another game we talked about a lot on the show, first disparagingly, but then later came around on. Number 3 was Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Well, for a very Nintendo friendly and weeb friendly audience, Jeff, this isn't too much of a surprise to me.
Not at all. Let's see here. Super Harmon said my personal favorite was Xenoblade Chronicle 3. Bayloof Moon said Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is not only my game of the year, but my favorite game of all time now. I have never been so hyped for a game and for it to fly past my expectations. First time taking time off work for a game too, and it felt like a holiday. Also, watching you boys turn from pretty sour to praise on the game does make me evil grin every time. Yeah, we're glad we can help you out with that. It is obviously a very well made game.
But it's great. Like sometimes, like if I don't like a game, I like try to like I don't want to not like games. Sometimes I try to make it fun for myself because I'd rather not be miserable, right? Like I'm not actually going to let Balan Wonderworld ruin my day, right? So I'm going to just make fun of it or whatever.
Maybe we can find something there. Maybe we can find some way for that to happen. But yes, I understand what you're saying.
Right. But like Xenoblade Chronicles 3, it's like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to like this. I guess I'm going to try to have some fun, like poking fun at it. I'm much happier that I actually do like it and enjoyed it a lot. That is much more preferable.
Yeah, King Ketchup said Xenoblade 3 is their very close second after God of War Ragnarok. So a game we might get to. We'll see.
Oh, I think we might get to that right now, Jeff, because number 2 was, in fact, God of War Ragnarok, a game that I actually beat last night. I beat God of War Ragnarok just last night.
Really? And, okay. How are you feeling about it?
It's very good. I think it's definitely going to be in my top 10 now. Like, honestly, so, like, I'll have to probably squeeze Return of Monkey Island out of my list to find it somewhere. Probably in the bottom half of my list, but on my list. The combat is actually really fun. And I know, like, sometimes the story overshadows that in a way, or like the maybe okay puzzles, but the combat is super great, especially once you have all 3 weapons and you're switching between them and we develop a play style that works with you. It feels more RPG in that, like the gear sets, and I don't know, the customization just feels better to me. Like I have this set where if I fight people with my bare hands, right? So like I threw my axe and I have my bare hands, and I can put when I get the poison buff on them, I do way more damage to them. So I'm actually doing like a lot of bare knuckle fighting and getting that damage buff, and even on bosses and stuff. And it's super satisfying. Don't worry, no spoilers, Jarrett. Well, there was like a mild one there, but yes. So yeah, and then I think there are pacing problems with it. It was a 30-hour game, which is a lot for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
To me, still, I know you can argue what's an RPG now. Sure. Even like I was asking you, like, well, what does the guy want in Sports Story, right? There's a little bit of a problem with that here, where in the last God of War, they want to get to the tallest mountain so they can spread their wife's ashes, right? And that's like the goal. Here, like they kind of admittedly don't know what they want to do a lot of the time. So like there are maybe immediate goals, and like Ragnarok's coming like, oh, what are we gonna do about that? They're kind of a little directionless, and because of that, pacing can feel weird. You have these really long sections that feel like story detours a lot of time, and they can kind of drag on a bit. Maybe part of that is because they're like, we're gonna do this in 2 games instead of 3, right?
Yeah.
So there's like a lot more characters in this one, especially compared to the last one. Some of them maybe don't really get as much time as you need for some of the emotional weight that I think they want you to have with them. But yeah, overall, obviously a very well made game, a very fun game. And if this was the last God of War, I'd be pretty happy.
It's something I probably, hearing you talk about it and hearing you like mention the combat, it's like I should just 100% give these games another shot. I enjoyed the little bit I played of 2 when we did it on stream, and then what I played of 1 in trying again recently. It was like, there's just nothing here pushing me away. This is actually pretty fun. So, but I had fun through those sections the first time I played it, and I remember I did something like I bounced off it right away. It was several hours. It was after the first major sections of the game. So, I just 30 hours for one of the games. It's a big ask.
I don't remember the first one being that. I don't long think it, either.
No, I really doubt it would be that long.
Right. That's what I was like, I'm surprised this is that long. I know some people complain now when the old people like us complain about games being too long.
Sure,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't mind a game being that long. Look, I went through all 80 hours of Xenoblade 3, which, again, that definitely was too long. But I don't know. I don't know if like you mentioned before, like let's do 2 games instead of 3, right? Because who knows how many more times we can do this formula. I definitely do kind of feel like that now. Yeah, let's give this series a break and come back with something new even once again.
That's definitely the sentiment that I mean, even as people have really loved the game, the sentiment is like what they really left it all out on the field. And I felt like, it was probably going to be the sentiment no matter what. That hey, after this, it's pretty exhausting. We got to go move on from this. So, and they were always planning to. So hey, things are working out. In the community, King Ketchup says God of War Ragnarok is the game of the year for me. The game spoke to me on so many levels. It just had and I had an incredible time playing it. Xenoblade 3 is a very close second. Let's see. Pablo Cost says God of War Ragnarok because it delivered. And Run Robo Joe mentioned God of War Ragnarok among their top 3. Earlier, they mentioned Vampire Survivors as well.
We didn't get a single vote for Horizon for Ben West, did we, on our thing?
No, we did. It has 7 points, so it's actually in the top. Almost the top 15.
There it is.
Basically tied for top 15. Yeah.
I couldn't see it there. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Well, Jeff, number 1, and I don't want to shock you, is Elden Ring. Yeah. In fact, with the point system that Sean came up with here, I think. So God of War Ragnarok got 37 points. Elden Ring got 80. So that's the difference there. So this isn't shocking. This is another game we talked about a lot. I think everybody's heard a lot about it. Let's see, does the community have anything to say about Elden Ring? That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, let me take a look here. I bet they do. Grandest McBasketball just says Elden Ring. I don't think it's an overly controversial pick. Shoji Kodo says Norco or Elden Ring are just about tied for my game of the year at the moment. The Uncharted Wolf says my game of the year is Elden Ring, but I want to give a shout out to Live Alive. Mike, there you go.
There you go. Nice. Good
any other year, Live Alive easily would have been my number 1. Screaming Madden was the one that mentioned that. This is a different one saying that their brain was saying pick Elden Ring, but my heart pick is Freedom Planet 2. Exploring Elden Ring's world was magical, but Freedom Planet 2 made me make Tigger sounds games. For how much I love playing it. And the wait for it since its announcement in 2015 was worth it. Let's see. Let's keep going here. A few more.
It was my game of the year. I do agree. And I know like some people are frustrated. People are just saying Elden Ring's a game of the year and not talking about it. But it does feel like, man, I don't know what else is left to say. It's fantastic. It's giant. It was super engaging. All the social stuff was fun. The world was great. The bosses are super memorable. It's obviously going to be one of the most influential games of this decade.
Yep.
No matter what happens, the other 8 years of it.
Yeah, Randy dropped it. Elden Ring as their number 4, which I didn't get to play as much of as I wanted. Clink said it's Elden Ring, a tremendous game that captivated me the entire year. Run Robo Joe, Elden Ring, their number 1. Mathif Penith. Hate to sound cliche, but Elden Ring, it is the closest the game has ever gotten to what I imagined when I first read about Dark Souls online. A large, interesting world with challenging but rewarding combat. Add to it the striking imagery throughout, that every single path rewards the player with an item, and the seemingly never-ending nature it has. This is a game that has set a new bar and will be a standard for the next few years, like Breath of the Wild and Dark Souls before it. Now, all that said, it's almost worth it that George R.R. Martin worked on this instead of Winds of Winter. Yeah, for as much as he did work on either one of those things.
Wouldn't it be incredible? We actually found out that George R. R. Martin wrote like every line,
and, like every item description. Yes.
Yeah.
That would roll. Yeah. For me, it's always been that you go in there and it is the right decision for how to present Souls combat, Souls like gameplay loop to a wider audience. You give them a world where if you need to go the other way, you can go the other way. If you feel like you hit a wall, go out and try to find another place that's going to be easier. It doesn't exist in this world. This world is cruel everywhere you go, and it's going to beat you down everywhere you go. But the fact that you think there's a possibility you might be able to find that simpler path forward, it gives you hope and gives you a chance to try to go out there and discover things on your own. And that's where the magic is, because discovering things on your own in that game is second to none. There has never been a game that is better at that than this game, because it is just so massive, so well realized, so artistically rich, so massive, so penith. Yes, absolutely. For me, it was like when I realized that it felt like looking at one of those maps in a fantasy novel, and actually it came to life for once. Someone actually did that, and this does it better than any game. I think it does it better than any movie and any book too, bringing a fantasy world to life. I think it stands on its own. That it's that good.
I got a request here to go through each game and say what number of votes they got. Now, again, everybody got to pick 3 here.
It's a ranked voting system, so these are points.
right. So Elden Ring got 80 points. Number one. Number two, God of War Ragnarok with 37 points. Number three, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 with 24 points. Four, Neon White with 19 points. Tunic, number five with 18 points. Pokemon Legends Arceus and Kirby in the Forgotten Land, technically tied for six with 16 points each. Pentiment at number eight with 13 points. Then Vampire Survivors and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet tied for ninth with 10.
Those are all the double-digit point getters. Everything
Yeah,
else was single-digit. Some standouts. Number 11 is Live Alive, just barely missing the list as we
with
talked
9
about.
points. Yeah.
Citizen Sleeper, then Marvel Snap, Plague Tale Requiem, Power Wash Simulator. These are getting 9, 8, 7 points. Horizon Forbidden West there, tied for 15th at 7 points. Marvel's Midnight Suns just behind that.
Look at Ghostwire Tokyo sneaking in at number 27 with 3 points there.
Signalis and Cult of the Lamb, both with 4 points at 23 and 24-ish. Tied for, 20th? Yeah. Stray, right there, same amount of points. Triangle Strategy, yeah. So, Norco as well. There's a lot of games on this list that people obviously talked about and had fun with. But I'll say what. Let's say something about this year. That's a strong year of games. Like, that's a really strong list of games. When you look, it's like you can take a good 3, 4, 5 of these games, like just pick them off a menu and hand them to just about anybody, and you'll be able to like find something that they are really, really going to react to in a strong, positive way. So you can't say that about every year, but 2022 was very, very, very strong for games.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, again, AAA, maybe not huge, but there's a lot of smaller, interesting games kind of picking up slack there. And the AAA games that were very good, like your God of War and like your Elden Ring, were very good. So, hey, no problems.
Absolutely. All right, that's our community game of the year catch up there. I want to thank everybody for participating in that. That was pretty fun. And it was a good one more good reminder of just how good 2022 was. That's going to bring us to the Game Best Decides Hall of Fame right after
why don't we take a break
this.
first, Jeff? Oh, no, you were. I thought I had to save you there. I was like, whoa, Jeff, we can't do that first. We got to take a break.
Here we go, everybody. Be right back. All right, cool. You got to use the potty?
Nah.
Cool.
Nah, I don't.
All right, well, let's let that run just for a second. Let's double check here. This will be a slightly shorter episode. That feels good. We're just going to make a short and sweet episode this week.
I had to learn. I kind of learned a Christmas. Which one did I learn? Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember now. But yes, I had.
Did you play that when you were Ninja Turtle caroling?
Yes, I played that during Ninja Turtles caroling.
Beautiful.
I did do that. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, let's bring it back. All right, Mike. After last of the Nintendogs yesterday, because we mixed up schedule this week. You were like, hey, we should do a Hall of Fame. I'm like, okay. And then you said, let's do indie games. So between the two of us, we each picked two. I won't say who picked what yet. We presented to the podcast producers Braid, Undertale, Shovel Knight, and FTL Faster Than Light as games that could potentially be inducted into the Game Mess Decides Hall of Fame, which I'm realizing now I really need to keep track of, and I have not really done that. There's two of the games here. I guess can add these. I know Street Fighter 2 is the other one. All right. So, Mike, of these four, do you have it in front of you, or are you looking at it, or do you need me to tell you what won?
No, I need you to tell me, Jeff.
Well, which one's okay? What do you think is gonna? Which one has the best chance of getting through? Do you think?
Which one has the best chance?
Between Braid, Undertale, Shovel Knight, FTL, Faster Than Light.
It's for our audience. It could be Shovel Knight, could be Undertale. I think FTL has the worst chance. I'll say that.
The games that did not make it this week with the least amount of votes was Braid.
Oh, wow. That's a little surprising to me. I think that's wrong also.
With 23% of the votes, but still missing out, FTL, Faster Than Light, just barely behind 28% of the vote is Undertale, which is a new inductee to the Game Mess Decides Hall of Fame. Obviously, that means the number one vote getter is Shovel Knight. So Shovel Knight and Undertale, those feel like very good entries in the indie section of the Hall of Fame. Well, you want to say anything about them? Like, we'll start with Undertale, I guess.
Yeah, I think Undertale was just kind of the indie game that went almost viral, right? Which sometimes that happens in some degree. Definitely happened with Hades, for say. But even beyond that, there's like a fan community around Undertale. That's I know sometimes it's almost kind of obnoxious, right? But they're very passionate, and it's international, right? Like that game is huge in Japan in a way that a lot of Western games don't really get. So many indie games have fine, I'll do it myself energy, right?
Hmm.
Here's Toby Fox, like, well, I like Earthbound a lot, and they're not making a new Earthbound, so I'll make my own Earthbound. But he still did it in this really
Yes.
creative way. You had this kind of combat system that's still like a turn-based RPG, but on like the turn where you're getting attacked, it's like, well, now you're gonna play like a bullet hell shooter without the shooting kind of thing. And then he takes that idea and spins it in all these really creative, interesting ways, culminating in like a couple of the best boss fights in any video game ever. I know Tony Fox didn't entirely make the game by himself. There was, help, but it is so much feels like a kind of a one-person passion project, especially because he did most of the music for the game too, and it also has one of the best soundtracks ever. So there is a lot that's remarkable about Undertale.
Yes. And then, I mean, Undertale's just got so much to say too, and
Yeah.
it does so through that gameplay, through the mechanics, through the characters, obviously as well. It kind of blew me away to like realize how much was going on in that game, even after playing it and enjoying it just fine, but not really catching much of it because I just wasn't paying that close of attention as I was playing, and then like reading up on it and realizing how much subtext this stuff was carrying, it was like, oh wow, this is super impressive.
It
And
gets more and more interesting the more you play it.
yes, and then the more you think about it when you're done playing it, that's a special
Yeah.
game. Shovel Knight is the kind of thing where it's like, okay, we could take this genre of older retro game that we want to recreate today, and let's keep it sort of confined to what it would felt like on the NES, but then let's bring in modern design elements, and it created one of the best action platforming games of all time. Big part of that is the Souls-like structure of risk and reward. That really created this strong sense of tension. But really, it is, they just knew what good games felt like at this point because we've been playing them for 20, 30 years at that point, as opposed to on the NES when they were still figuring a lot of that stuff out. And Shovel Knight feels better than just about anything you can go play on real NES hardware or even Super Nintendo hardware. So just a really strong game with a great art style, a lot of personality that they've then built on by expanding out with all these expansions based on all the characters that were in the game. Just really strong stuff.
Yeah, it definitely is of all the indie games. There are a lot of them that are, well, we're going to make an 8-bit/16-bit platformer, but like now, this is definitely the best feeling of those. It's the most fun, uh, and yeah, the fact that they made those expansions and they each just kind of bring so much to it, and they like Spectre of Torment is itself like one of the best 2D games ever, right? Yeah,
Yes.
the whole Shovel Knight package is just fantastic, and it's like one of those games I'm going to always need to have access to at any given point for the rest of my life.
I'm trying to remember all the games in the Hall of Fame. Super Mario
Well,
Brothers, Metroid, Super Metroid, right?
yeah,
Uh,
Super Metroid.
Super Street Fighter, or I'm sorry, Street Fighter 2. There was another game that week that I'm not remembering, but then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and F-Zero GX were the racing games, right?
I think that's right. I think the Mario 64 get in there.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Also at some point, yeah, there must have been a second fighting game that would have made it in. Right.
I don't know if we had multiple. I think that was before
Oh,
we
maybe
did the
not yet.
genre week.
Yeah, I think. Oh, you're right. Yeah, maybe it
So
was Mario 64 that week. Do you
yeah.
want to? Why don't you say something nice about FTL though, and I'll say something about Braid and why we because you threw out FTL and I threw out Braid as
Yes.
suggestions here.
FTL is someone mentioned it's like it was tough to decide between these games between FTL and I think they were mentioned Shovel Knight. But they said FTL is an all timer, and that's how I feel. Like this is an all time, well designed roguelite game about controlling multiple things going wrong on a ship and just trying to skate by. It's got really great music. It's a really good game to just sort of sit down and give it all your concentration and let the rest of your world just melt away. And it does so with like really minimalist visual design, where it's like this: you're just looking at the top-down grid-based ship thing, and yet it's so immersive because there's so much going on, and you could just imagine what these situations must feel like if you were in a high-fidelity first-person, environment or whatever. But you don't need that because it's just so captivating based on what they present. And then actually getting a good run where you actually are able to get through this entire dangerous space sector of going from one pod to the next on the roguelite map, and then getting to the final ship and being able to defeat it is very rewarding. But it takes a lot of time to get good enough to be able to actually do that. It's something special.
I still associate Braid as like, and I know this isn't actually right. To me, it's like the first indie game
Yeah,
in
I
a
mean, it's
lot
the
of ways.
it's the first of the modern era
Right. I mean,
in a lot
before
of
then,
ways.
like I don't hear people talk about indie games like that. Basically, we meant Flash games back then, right? Like it was stuff on Newgrounds and other Flash sites, and then because of Xbox Live Arcade, we were getting these digital games, and this felt like one of the first ones where like this is like an indie game made mostly by this one guy, and look, he took. He's like clearly inspired by Super Mario Brothers, but he's doing all this weird, interesting stuff to it, and like was this really fun, cool game. On top of that, where you had these really interesting time mechanics, and each world played with that theme in a different way. I think it also, and maybe for better or for worse, set up this like expectation for a while that these indie games are kind of artsy fartsy sometimes, right? And I even liked that, especially in the 360 era. We had a lot of
Yeah.
really dumb games, so I was like, I'm okay. Let's balance that out with some pretentious shit.
Yes, a
Actually,
little bit, please. Just a little bit of pretentious shit. It goes a
yeah,
long way. And it did. It
yeah.
went a long way.
Yeah, it absolutely did. But I don't know, like Braid felt very important to me even at that time. And I think it started a legacy of indie games that we are very much still in now. And I think I could still go back to it and play it and have a lot of fun with that. So yeah, I think Braid's pretty important. One of my try to sneak onto a list again. We'll see.
Mike, we got some super chats. Why don't we hit those up? And if you've been playing anything, we could talk about that and then we'll get out of here. What do you say?
Yeah, sure thing. Antonio Morales just joined the Lincoln tier, so thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much,
Antonio.
Antonio.
Appreciate that. Jeremy G says, "Congrats on the fantasy football win, Grubb. Good luck in the finals." That's right, Jeff. You're in the finals, sir.
Yes, I'm in the Super Bowl. Well, the Super Bowl. I guess maybe we should be careful about actually
Super
saying that.
Bowl.
Yes, we're in the
Play copyrighted Sonic the Hedgehog music before our podcast. I think you'll be fine.
yeah, but that Yuji Naka can't get me now.
No, yeah, he's got
Yes,
things
he's
to worry
paying for
about.
his crimes. So the big game. I'm in the big game, the finals. It's looking forward to that. I don't think I stand much of a chance, but that's been true for every game that I've been in so far this year, and it's gone just fine so far. So
Fantasy football finals, anything can happen. It's
oh
basically
yes,
a coin
absolutely,
toss, I think. Who knows what's
absolutely.
going to happen? And then Afro Ahmed says, "Oh, this is his top five. Number one, Elder Ring. Two, Pentiment. Three, Live Alive. Four, Shredder's Revenge. Five, Signalis." A couple people brought up Signalis, and that's something I kind of completely missed this year. Maybe I'll have to try at some point.
It's
Oh,
like
he also
it's like a Silent Hill sort of. The game it most reminds me of is Metal Gear Ghost Babel, just because it
oh,
has that same UI and that same camera perspective.
okay, cool. He says you two might also like Infernax, a Zelda 2 clone by the Arcade Crew. I've had a couple people tell me about this one now,
Yeah.
so I'm going to check out Infernax at some point here. Um, Travin says, assuming that the KOTOR remake is actually a thing, what hopes do you have for it? I hope it has a reimagining of a Final Fantasy VII remake, but that might be too costly. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I hope it does, because I personally think that the original KOTOR is still like perfectly good and playable now. That I don't need to just put nice graphics on that.
Yeah.
Like, if we're gonna remake it, yeah, I want it to be like Resident Evil 2, Final Fantasy 7 style, where we're basically literally remaking that into like a new game. It's gonna be something modern. And hey, that original is still there, and that's also great. You can go play that too. But here's this other thing riffing on the same idea.
Yep. I don't have much hope that this thing's ever actually going to come out, but if it does, I'm at this point, yeah, I'm with you where it would be nice to just see them go really ham on redoing just about everything. I would prefer it still be the D20 combat or whatever, but they're not going to do that. They're not. That's fine. So
Right,
then
yeah.
make it something that feels like it built on that concept in a really robust way, but feels new in the same way Final Fantasy VII Remake does.
Yeah, I guess I hope it's not just, cooldown combat. Like, I hope it's not just literally like Dragon Age combat, like
Right.
the most like basic kind of thing you can do. Hope there's something more interesting than that. But yeah, I'm not expecting D20s. Supernova says, "Hey everyone, is Sakaguchi's next game Dark Fantasy for consoles? Is it Lost Odyssey 2?" So here, Nobuo Sakaguchi, the Final Fantasy father, said in Famitsu that he's working on a new game. It's not called Dark Fantasy. It's just a Dark Fantasy game. We don't know anything else about it besides that, Jeff. I don't think he's gonna make another phone RPG like his last one. If like I think maybe that worked out okay for that game. What was it called? It was something Fantasia or whatever. I also do not think this is
Fantasian.
Fantasian. I also do not think this is Lost Odyssey 2. I bet it'll just be another
New
original
game,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. KC says you check with sources when stuff goes away.
Awry.
Awry. Prime.
Yes. So Casey, yes, when the Prime stuff went awry, I did check with the sources eventually, and one was basically saying, well, "What's your other source saying?" Because I thought it was supposed to come out, and then the other source was like, "It was supposed to come out." And what do I do with that? What do I say? I come out and repeat that to you all. I mean, I will, I did, but I mean, I don't believe that anymore because it didn't happen. So why would anyone else believe me when I say it? It's a strange situation, but Nintendo's strange. I think I forget that sometime in the heat of the moment. We're like, well, if I'm hearing it from two sources, that's reliable, and then I forget it's fucking Nintendo. So yeah.
Grateldo's Bazoongas with a generous super chat here says, thanks for the fun times, Mike Navi and Jeff. Oh no, he's still hot grub. Get a nice Coke Zero on me. I will do.
Thank you very much.
Just that. Thank you very much. Char Wolf says, did y'all comment on what the Metal Gear Solid, I assume MGS is Metal Gear Solid, producer said? No. What did he say?
No idea. MGS producer.
I think I asked for a clarification. I don't think I got a clarification. So I don't know. I don't know what this is in reference to. Do we mean the movie?
Here we go.
There's a
Okay.
movie.
MGS producer Noriaki Akamura teases something long awaited for Konami in 2023. It's got to be the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake.
Probably. Yeah, there's been rumors of that. There's been other rumors about a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake. It's the remake of one of those two games.
Yep.
Oh, you did mention it. Sorry, Wolf, I missed it then. All right then. So yeah, that's got to be it. That's so much safer and more reasonable than them trying to make a new Metal Gear Solid without Kojima. Like, make remakes for a while.
Yeah, for a while.
I would rather have that, to be honest. And then Jacob Heiner says, sup, gents, I wanted to donate because you guys took a steamy dump on the Shat motorcycle Pokemon design. Those two tires were an instant turn off. You're welcome, Jacob. Thank you. Yes, that opinion did deserve money. I agree with that. Yep. All right, Jeff, that's it for Super Chats for now. If you guys want to squeeze in some more Super Chats, and I know you guys love squeezing them in, we will read them before the show ends. I promise. I mean, a guy in chat whose name is Snake, and he literally has the Metal Gear Solid profile picture. Says just released Twin Snakes on Switch. Twin Snakes is fine to play once, but the original is so much better.
Yes, the original is an all-timer for me as well.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, have you been playing anything that you want to talk about, or any like last thoughts about 2022 before we get out of here?
You know, I beat God of War. But I don't want to play Sports Story now.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I think I'm gonna
honestly, if you booted it up, maybe you can get a refund. I mean,
I might actually.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna play a Shadow Man remastered soon instead.
There you go. That's a good one.
I've been playing Dragonflight quite a bit actually. I'm actually having fun. Like doing dungeons, doing very low mythic dungeons with groups. Getting slightly better gear. You know, so I'm not raiding or anything, but I'm playing at least a little bit almost every day and having a good time. Yes, I need to finish Strider for the Game Club. I probably will be streaming some more of that tonight. It's been fun, Jeff. You should try it. It is, 2014. It has some Metroid Dread vibes. Definitely not as good, of course.
Sure.
But of that essence, it's fun. It's very spiffy. The movement does feel good. The action is nice. It's very fast paced. Very good pace, very good cadence of getting.
The one that's on
upgrades.
Steam, right?
It's on Steam.
Okay,
yes,
then I'll definitely try it.
It's weird because Capcom just made a Strider Metroidvania in 2014, and it seems like no one noticed, but it was good.
Okay, yeah, I'll try it tonight. We will be doing that Game Club next week, right? We're gonna be doing Jeopardy next week. So like when we come baback from the holidays, everybody is basically what I mean. Whatever that actually works out to.
In fact, you can still vote right now for next month's Game Club game. Your choice. This is for the podcast producers. So if you want to vote and take part in the Game Club, you just join that Patreon at patreon.com/GameMess. But we're voting for Myst, Proteus, Hotline Miami, Grease, Resident Evil, or Ghost Trick Fan Detective. These are the 6 games that lost the polls in the previous 3 months. It's fun to do this, the redemption running here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be interested to see which one is going to pull through here. I think I'll be pretty happy playing any of these bad boys. Should be a good time. It'd be weird if one of the Halloween ones won. I wonder how they'd
Yeah.
fare in a non-Halloween time. But I mean, like, obviously these spooky games always get played over. It's not like
Oh,
Resident
yeah.
Evil is only popular in October, right?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. They come out in like March now and crush.
There's a couple of these, like, if they don't win here, I'm definitely just gonna play on my own because they seem like my I don't want to say because I'm always terrified
Right.
of influencing the poll one way or another. I don't know how I'll influence it. I doubt people will be like, "Well, Mike says he wants that one to win. We should."
Yeah, let's give him
vote
something
for it," or-
nice. Let's
Yeah, I don't
reward
think
Mike. Yeah, that definitely
I don't think
happened.
that's gonna happen.
That's weird.
So, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, that's I don't know, Jeff. You've been up to anything else gaming wise?
I mean, no, I keep thinking like, oh, I'll get up my VR headset, or I'm gonna catch up on all these games, and then I don't know. I mean, it was nice to like just go be like, hey, I meant to start Sports Story, and so I started it on stream. So I don't know. There's definitely a lot I want to do, but there's only so much time, and I think I'm just gonna play some games that I want to play and not think much more about it than that, and then go back to work and play Bubs. I did get, you know what? I did get one thing. I got the Funky S.
The what now?
The Funky S.
Is this that really cheap handheld you were talking about?
No. This is the really
Oh, no.
small handheld. This is a keychain. It is that big. It's got like this. It actually goes on your here. Let me put it here.
It is actually a clamshell. That's neat.
Yeah. I actually focus on it if I let it. If I
So
give
does
it
it
long
play
enough.
Game Boy Advance games?
It does. It plays PlayStation games. I was literally playing Bubsy on it. Bubsy 3D. So
as God intended.
yes,
Finally.
let me see if I can get it going.
If
It's
people can't see the video, this thing is like the size of like a pack of gum.
yes, like it's even smaller than that. Really, it's it's like a little bit thicker than a matchbook. Basically, is what it is. It's
How much did it cost?
I think it was like 60-ish. It was pretty expensive, but I mean, it is so miniaturized. I'm not too surprised. But like I said, I'm like pretty impressed with what they did here. I'm trying. There we go. Now they focused on it. It's cool in that with the clamshell design. It does shut off when you shut it, so you can play a game for a little bit, close it, and then keep going.
Nice.
And I'm gonna put it on my
that it does-
keychain.
I like that it does the turn of the century translucent plastic thing. That's
Yes,
good.
and it's atomic purple. It said it right on the box
Oh
and
wow, they're
everything.
not
So
even hiding it. Nice.
yeah, I wonder if
Yeah.
that's actually. It might be even like trademarked by Nintendo. But let me tell you something about China. China don't care.
China don't mind.
Yep. Atomic purple is right there. So yeah, I this thing has been out for a while, but you know me, I got the bug. I ordered
Gotta
this
have it.
a couple weeks ago, forgot about it,
Gots
finally
to have
showed
it.
up, and yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's it. That's where I'm at. I'm still enjoying my sickness. So
All right. I'm excited. I found my calendar. There's a Sega Genesis 2023 calendar I can get on Amazon,
ooh,
with just like box art from Sega Genesis games. Holy shit, they got Comic Zone, Golden X3, Streets of Rage 2. Oh, hell yeah, this is gonna rule. Man, yeah, this is easily gonna be my new calendar. So something to look forward to in January, everybody.
now you can kind of see Bubsy. He's there. He is just
That's
being
about
a
as
little
much of him as
freak.
I ever want to see.
I was
so.
playing this and I was listening, and he was like commenting on things in the level, and I'm like, oh my god, this is just High on Life. High on Life is just new Bubsy, which I'm
Yeah.
enjoying High on Life.
Well,
That's
it's
another
Bub-
thing. I'm enjoying High on Life, but it's just
High on Life-
Bubsy.
It's kind of like more Bubsy or Gex.
More Gex, obviously. Gex was even more of that, but this was like, I think he was like commenting on like, oh, there's a big red arrow telling me where to go. So he was like directly commenting on the level design, and that made me think about High on Life. So, but Gex did that even more, of course. So yeah.
Very good.
Mike, I'm gonna wrap this show up. What do you say?
I think I've had enough of you.
Yeah, too much Mike in 2022. Less Mike Minotti in 2023
Yeah,
is
there
my
you go.
New Year's resolution. Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
Twitter, Tolkoto, Twitch, Tolkoto. Like I said, I'll probably be streaming tonight, doing some Strider, and beat that, and then at some point I want to get back to Kingdom Hearts. Actually, and I do want to start High on Life now. Also, being God of War felt good. I'm spending a lot of time trying to finally do that. I wanted to beat that one before the year is over. So yeah, I'm in a good place now, Jeff. Happy place.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitter. Jeff Grubb on Twitch. Been streaming this week. Been enjoying that. That's been a lot of fun. I'll be think I'm going to do a New Year's Eve live stream. I think that's what I'm going to do. So if you want to come hang out with me New Year's Eve, who knows? Maybe I'll probably do it all night. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All night long.
All night long. Just like Gloria Estefan would have wanted us to. We'll probably do stuff like Fall Guys. We'll do some online, like fun custom games, sort of games. So if you want to tune in, hang out, play games, or if you're going out and you can't, don't worry about it. Go enjoy yourself. But if you're inside with me.
Jeremy G with the super chat. Dibs on final super chat of 2022. Thank you, Jeremy.
Jeremy G getting in there under the wire. Well done, Jeremy. And then that's pretty much it. Mike, you're gonna stay in. You said probably for New Year, or maybe
I'll go somewhere, but it's gonna be. I imagine it'll be very
like Denny's,
low-key.
probably something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at like a person's house,
Sure.
But
yeah.
like
You have like
I'm
any
not
games you
partying.
associate with New Year's Eve? Because I'm like trying to think. I'm like, not really.
Trivial Pursuit. I don't think that's what you meant, but my
No.
family
That's
used
pretty
to
fun though.
play
Yeah.
Trivial Pursuit. Like I would like try to help the adults, and one time the final question was about the nursery rhyme, like the cow went over the moon, so I knew the answer. And the adults pretended they didn't, and I got to answer it. And
Oh, very good.
Voice. Oh, Kyle Martin with super chat last. No way,
There he
Jeremy.
is.
Good job, Kyle.
Good job. I'm gonna let this music keep noodling to see if anyone else wants to be Kyle.
yes. Whoa, I can't believe that was really the last super chat for sure.
Uh-oh, here it is. Bye, everybody. See you in
everyone.
2023.
Thank you. Happy New Year. Oh, Nick Turbo, no, I had the final super chat.
Hey, Turbo, you did it.
He's not here to do things. Batman is dead. Oh, Jen, I'm gonna fart. Oh, Jeremy G with Happy New Year.
Jeremy, you get back in. I'm gonna come